Gone are the days of the new year, new me mentality. Instead, the Mindset Mamas encourage you to have the mentality of new year, better me. On this month's episode, we remind ourselves and all of you listeners to follow through with your current goals instead of abandoning them for new ones. Goals are meant to be tough, and a part of the journey is the learning process through the struggle. Stay with us as we discuss renewing our commitments.
Hey,
What's going on, Dr. Shikari?
nothing much, Dr. Constance. How are
Yeah.
you?
I can't complain. What's been going on in your world?
Oh my goodness, so much. I told you before that we just purchased a new home, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah, it's my
Gunshot, gunshot.
first first home. So we're doing all of those things, moving slowly because obviously with a 4-month-old, like we're not doing anything quickly. So
Right. At all. And I'm
slowly
like
but surely.
literally in the same boat, right?
Yeah, literally in the same boat.
Literally.
Yes. Yes. So no, but things are going well. I'm excited about today's topic with the new year and so many people just working on all of these wonderful things that they want to improve. So today we are talking about renewing our commitments.
And let me tell
Um,
you, I feel like probably this is the same for you, but New Year's resolutions kick rocks in my life years ago. Like after a while, I just didn't see the value in trying to do this thing and kind of this on again, off again relationship with some of the goals that we have, which is exactly why we're having this conversation today. Because I think a lot of it is that our goals are a continuum, right?
yes.
And if you make a goal and don't see it through, that's okay because you could kind of just pick back up, right?
hmm
But how do you pick back up and keep going? And how do you know what to focus on when trying to accomplish a goal?
Right. And that can be really tough. So you have to definitely start with the reason that you're doing something. What is it that you're hoping, what are the results that you're hoping to get? Because if
Right.
you know what results you're hoping to get, you can work backwards to say what you need to do in order to get those results. So that's something that I talk to clients about all the time is, you know, what how are your current behaviors helping you to reach the goals that you want in the future.
Yeah.
um
And like when you're trying to figure out these results, like digging as deep as you can, because the more broad we are about the particular goal, the more overwhelming it's going to be just
yes,
naturally, right?
for
Um,
sure.
Certainly you and I accomplish huge goals in our lives with becoming medical doctors, but that was broken down into very small pieces, right?
Yes.
It started with graduating from undergrad. Then, for both of us, we got master's degrees. You got to take the MCAT.
hmm
Then you got to apply. Got to get accepted. Praise the Lord.
yes.
Happen. But again, certainly we had this goal, but I think this is a great example showing how you have to break that down. So even with the bigger goal of wanting to be a medical doctor, if you didn't prepare for the MCAT, you can never get
Right.
to the final destination.
Right.
um and that's why you have to know what you're working with, like what's the goal, and then working backwards to decide exactly what you need to accomplish that goal.
Yes, exactly. And then you brought up a great point. It took all of those steps, and what it made me think about is the fact that it was not something that looked like I thought it was going to look. I thought I was going to go to undergrad. I was going to get into, my top med school. I was going to go to that med school. I was going to get a residency. but life has definitely taken me through some twists and turns, and I've recognized things about myself, through the process,
Right.
that have shifted what my goals are. So always being able to be flexible and
Mm-hmm.
understand that, sometimes it's about something even bigger than what you thought. So
Right.
it evolves. It's a process.
Right. And then again, part of that, you also acknowledging that it's not just having the desire, but also the resources and potentially the skill set to reach a particular goal. And not to, hang on this medical school and medical doctor accomplishment, but I think it's a phenomenal example of just how challenging. And the more I think the both of us learned about the career path, it makes you decide to go in different directions, right? And this is certainly, I feel the itch to get into it now, but definitely a topic that I think we plan to discuss in the future. But just how focusing on goals, knowing what you want to accomplish and what you need to do to get there, and how sometimes that changes. And that's okay, but that's part of the beauty of the commitment. The more committed you are and renewing that commitment, the better off you'll be in the end.
Right. No, definitely. And it kind of made me want to ask you, like, back when you were still setting New Year's resolutions,
Uh-huh.
do you remember something that you were trying to do that just didn't feel like it was working?
Yeah, it's funny because I also put New Year's resolutions as well as Lent season or
Oh, right.
Lenten season for those of us who are Christian and, of course in the Catholic, but a lot of different, Christian sects would do this as well. I kind of put them in the same
Mm.
bucket, right? You do this thing for a period of time and then you drop it. I think it's always important to think about what we can do and do it consistently. But honestly, the sad thing is probably similar for most people, but the yo-yo weight loss
Mm.
conversation is probably one of the more common commitments that people make, especially at
Mm-hmm.
the new year or at birthdays, which for me, I consider my birthday the new year.
Yeah. I love
um but
it.
for the purposes of this conversation, certainly the calendar year has to be acknowledged as well. And the reason why we're having this conversation is the reason why the weight loss goal did not always work, because you just say in your head, I want to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you're not specific. So yeah, you want to lose weight, but then like how much weight,
Mm-hmm.
what particular time frame am I going to revisit my progress to make a
Mm-hmm.
decision on how to navigate it? And so over the years, and as I am postpartum now and making preparations to make some shifts in my own recommitment journey,
Mm-hmm.
this is a very good reminder to me to say, okay, what's that specific goal? And then when you're going to revisit it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this has been a recurrent concern for you as an adult. So how are you going to approach it differently? And the renewed commitment and not moving on, no matter how many chances or times you have to recommit, you do it, right?
Yeah,
Because you're going to learn something new every single time that you
exactly.
recommit.
Yes, learning something new about yourself. I often, when I'm talking to people, they beat themselves up when they are not reaching their goal, when they are not, when their habits aren't congruent with the goal, they beat
Mhm.
themselves up. But I always tell them, this is a time to learn from what
Mm-hmm.
things stuck out to you, because usually when you're doing something that you feel like you're quote not supposed to be doing, you have on the other side of that what you feel like you are supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk ourselves into and out of both of those things all the time.
All the
Right. So understanding what you have learned from those experiences can be really valuable in helping you to renew that commitment and stay consistent with it.
right.
Definitely. And I was going to ask you too, because I see you all the time. You definitely are on your physical fitness kick.
Mm-hmm.
You eat such a wonderful variety of foods. Um, what do you feel like now has helped you more with staying consistent with those behaviors, those healthy behaviors?
I believe that it's sort of choosing in the beginning anyway, that one thing that you can really sink your teeth in, that you find true value in, and it becomes a grounding force. And so for me, it's physical exercise. What I noticed that throughout the years, um since leaving, graduating high school and going to college, the thing I did that was most consistent was staying physically active.
Mm-hmm.
And so along my journey, that's the thing that I've used, that if I don't do anything else, I know
Yeah.
for sure I commit to physical exercise because it feels good to me, it's fun to me, and there's so many
Mm.
different options to look into to try something new. Gyms are always doing like 1 week free,
Mm-hmm.
so whether it's a CrossFit gym or some other boutique gym that does 30-minute exercises, things like that, a dance studio. For
Yeah.
me, exercise was always that thing, that was the equalizer, that I
Mm-hmm.
knew, okay, I can sit down and come up with my exercise routine, and once I do that, it's a little easier for things to fall into place. And so now, even at my big age and being a medical doctor myself, right, I'm trying to find the balance in recommitment, as
Mm-hmm.
well as some of the things that we talked about during the last podcast, right? How do I make sure that I'm indulging in, or redefining what indulgent is
Mm-hmm.
in my life, right? So but for me, for sure, exercise, like I'm gonna do that. If I can only walk at half a mile an hour, I'm still
Yeah.
gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think and this is a good tidbit. I think we, because you sort of alluded to it as well, we often focus on what we can't do
Mm-hmm.
and what we have challenges doing, instead of uplifting ourselves and focusing on the things that we do well and we can
Mm-hmm.
do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe eating chocolate is a weakness for someone, but you really love salad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if you find it difficult to walk past the candy bowl, what you did do is make sure that you had a side salad at lunch and a big salad with a lot of different vegetables at dinner. So you're still making new commitments or renewing the commitment with
Mm-hmm.
decreasing the chocolate, but you are nailing your vegetables every day.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part about recommitment, is just affirming ourselves and
Definitely.
you know, staying true to who we are and finding ways to see the light at the end of the tunnel and the joy, even during the challenging part of the goal setting.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, and through all of these things, recognizing, like, I think the biggest thing is recognizing that just because you something happened that got you off track,
Mhm.
that does not mean you failed.
That's
That
right.
is just part of the process. it's part of the process to to relapse, to go back to things, with any change in behavior. People who quit smoking, people
Yeah.
who are in the process of losing weight, people who are addicted to shopping, all kinds of things.
All sorts of things.
Changing a behavior is something that definitely takes multiple rounds of
Hmm.
recognizing what you value in that
Hmm.
new behavior. What is bringing you value, what is actually working for you, and
Hmm.
finding those things out. But you find them out a lot of times through not doing them.
Right. Truth be told, right? And
Yeah.
then, just as a good point of reference, also, everybody, public service announcement, most goals are not going to be easy. Goals are against the path of least resistance, which
Right.
inherently makes them a goal, right? It's
Right.
easy for most people, right, to wake up and go to the bathroom and brush their teeth in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a part of a routine. But waking up, brushing your teeth, and then deciding to lace up your sneakers to exercise is a little bit harder for the average
Mm-hmm.
person until you get that routine down. So don't beat yourself up. You are setting these goals because you see something better for yourself,
Right.
and that's what it's all about. So whether it's going back to school,
Mm-hmm.
some health related
Mm-hmm.
commitment, a spiritual commitment to how much you want to pray or meditate, the
Mm-hmm.
goal is for you to be better, to feel better, to look better.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those things all work together. The better we feel, the better we'll look, the better we'll
Definitely.
the better we look, the better we show up in other spaces,
Yeah.
the better our relationships come with other people.
Right.
So, as you do these things, don't just focus on the value in that one particular goal, but how it's going to uplift you in totality as a person.
Yes, definitely, definitely, and it makes it a little bit easier to stay committed when you're thinking about what you're doing well, when you're thinking about why you're doing all of it in the first place, and when you remember that it's supposed to be a challenge,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
That is definitely okay. Mike, that was good. This topic for sure comes at a good time for me. So I'm excited to speak life into myself while we are also speaking life into other people.
Yes.
So I hope this was a good reason for you all to recommit. Don't make another goal. Listen, recommit to the
Recommit.
ones already on your list, y'all.
Exactly. Things you already know you want to do, and you've done, you've tried, get back to it. That's all right.
Get back to it. All right.
All
So
right, girl.
you think we should shut it down for now?
Yeah, I think that's a good stopping place.
All right. See y'all next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, but more importantly, we hope that it inspires you to take action. The setup is where we give you action steps to help set yourself up for success. Reflect on past resolutions and goals and identify what you learned from those experiences. Don't see challenges as failures, but look at them as lessons in disguise that will help you to know what you want to do better next time. Be sure that you know where you're headed. Determine the results that you want and what behaviors are important in order to get those results. And shift your mindset from focusing on weaknesses to affirming and uplifting those positive habits that are already in place. Let us know what you'll be working on to end 2025 and start 2026.